All right, how about that intro, Steven?
Awesome intro.
Was that not an awesome intro?
I love it.
It's our new intro.
Where was all that footage taken from, too?
Hey, Sutter, did you like that intro?
I love that intro.
Yeah, you didn't see it yet, did you?
Nope, not at all.
I know, it didn't. We'll talk about that in a second,
Yeah.
Steven, after we get to the whole thing. But, I mean, last week or 2 weeks ago, Todd came in and was just
Right
doing
before
his
RAWtalk,
thing.
yeah.
It was his job was to create the new intro for us, because we're taking everything to the next level, and part of that is having better intros. We also have a better intro now for the just regular videos. It's now 8 seconds. I sent you the new one, right?
Yep, it's now 8 seconds, I believe.
It was like 8.5 seconds or so.
Yeah, which we can also narrow down from there.
Well, that's good, because the other one was like 14 that he sent. So I had him skip it down, scud it
Shave
down,
it down.
shave it down, skip it down, go down, 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 baby. Oh, street and the rainbow. Boom, boom, boom. Honey,
We were
never
singing
let
Nelly
it go.
in Florida.
Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa, what? Shimmy, shimmy, rock. I got a biscuit, a Triscuit. She says a tisket, a tisket. That's from Big.
A big.
It's very similar to
We're in the big apartment.
country grammar.
Country
Why
grammar?
don't I intro?
Yes.
And then we can keep talking. Jared Poland, Frono's Photo.com. Welcome to RAWtalk, episode number 118. We don't have a title. We are interviewing Scott Kelby this week. Actually, I interviewed him last week, but it's going into this week's episode.
Going live.
It will be. We'll do it live. We'll be doing that live to tape.
Yep.
Because that's what we do. We do live to tape. Did you edit anything in that one?
Yeah, it's all pretty much done.
No, I mean, you didn't cut anything out?
No.
Like when he yelled at me and told me that I'm terrible.
We
and
start
I
beating
should
you and
quit.
punching you in the face.
That didn't happen.
It's pretty harsh.
It didn't happen. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. Again, why don't we talk about that intro one more time?
Yes.
Well, no, we want to talk about the glue, because people always want to know, where did the glue come from? And
The seasoning.
we made that other video, which you probably saw now, where you may have seen the intro already because that went up, but that talked about how we used video blocks to get the glue, the background, the sliders, the VMUs, all the different things that are moving. Todd found all that on videoblocks.com. He has been using them for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Then when we needed stuff for cutting in B-roll, like we did with CES with the escalator, he's like, do this. So I went ahead and paid for it. And then I reached out to them to say, look, we're using your service. There's an opportunity to reach a lot of people who could also use your service. Let's do some kind of deal to give them a free trial and then get a discount on the service. That's how simple it is.
Yeah.
I went to them because we already paid for it. We already used it. And like I say, nonstop, I don't work with companies that have products that I don't personally use or like or would use. That's as simple as it gets. A lot of the times now, we use services, and then when we love it, we reach out to them to work together. So with Video Blocks, you can get a 7-day free trial. Go to videoblocks.com/go/fro to get a 7-day free trial. You have to use your credit card here. It's not like Squarespace where where you don't have to put a credit card to start. Here, they want your credit card. But I worked out with them that if you cancel your 7-day free trial before the 7 days is up, they will send you an email to give you $99 for the year instead of $79 a month.
Which is a much better deal.
It is a much. I was honest with them. I'm
Yeah.
like, can't we just roll people into that? And I get it. They can't just roll people into that. They actually, if you don't cancel your subscription before the 7 days, they're going to roll you into a $79 a month plan. But like I said before, they will honor the $99 a year. Just send them a message or cancel it. Get that email from them, and then go ahead and sign up that way, because they're going to give you the $99 for a year, and it's well worth it if you're a video editor or looking. I mean, just for one clip, you could say, one clip's going to pay for itself.
And that goes for video and audio blocks?
Well, Audio Blocks is different. We haven't even talked about that yet, but you can go to audioblocks.com/go/fro and do the same thing for the 7-day trial over there. They're two separate things. Anyway, that wasn't actually an official plug. It really wasn't.
That was
because
that was natural.
that was more just telling you why we use it, and then I reached out to them to get the deal for you people. And when I mean you people, I mean you people at home. And I always explain this because I always second guess myself when I talk about a product or try to get people to use something. And the whole reason I do that is when I like something, I want to share that with you. And it becomes mutually beneficial for everybody. It's like when we did the plastic printers thing. I was like, you get a free thing in the mail. Plastic Printers gets your information so that they may be able to advertise to you something that may be useful to you. And it helps me because you're getting something else. So it's all about helping each other. It's good to give the business to get video blocks the opportunity for your business. It helps me because we work something out, and it helps you because you're getting a service that is tried, true, and tested that we used.
And everything in some way comes back to either photography or video or something.
Or edit. I mean, that's just where it is today.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's why I make those deals with people, is because it's beneficial for everybody.
It is.
And if you keep getting this free content, which is, I don't know how many hours a week I spend on content, and you spend, and Todd spends, because now we're ramping everything up. But we're creating a lot of freaking content. There's a lot of free stuff that we just keep doing.
Especially this year, what we're going to be cranking out.
Exactly. And working out partnerships with companies like them, with Squarespace, with Video Blocks, with Rode, with Atomos, with Allens, with all of those people. It doesn't cost anybody at home anything, but it allows us to keep funding the bigger and better stuff, like making an intro that Todd whipped together. I spent too much time talking about this. Sorry. I just... When I get speaking of passionate, why don't I go to that?
Let's do it.
Why don't I talk about? Did you say move on?
Yes. .org.
Why was that too much?
Let's just do a new topic.
Well, I'm doing it.
It's
the
a lot
Kelby
about plugging
thing
right there.
It wasn't a plug.
I know, but you're just talking.
I know.
About
I always
a lot
talk
of it.
about it a lot. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I hate that term.
Sorry, not sorry.
I hate sorry, not
you're
sorry.
sorry, you're not sorry.
No, I'm not fucking sorry. All right.
Earmuffs.
Earmuffs. I'm not sorry. Videoblocks.com/go/row. With the whole Kelby thing, we didn't talk about it since the last RAWtalk.
Yes.
A lot of people saw the grid.
Because we didn't actually do it.
Well, it was the next day.
Yeah.
The grid. How'd you got to sit there and watch the whole thing live?
It was a very, very long episode for what they're normally used to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about the same length that we do it here.
Yeah.
But I would say the first half an hour you were very calm and chill. Then there was like the first break, and they're like, "Come on, open up," and you're like, "Well, I don't know if I want to."
Well,
blah
see,
blah. And
they're
it's your
the
audience,
ones-
it's your show, and
Exactly.
they're like, "No, do your thing," and then you just freaking
Well, that's what people
spit
don't
hot
see.
Fire.
That's what they don't see behind the scenes.
Yeah,
is that
I
in
wish they
between
got to see
breaks?
that, yeah,
I said, I'm like,
they were the ones being like, "Come on."
they're like, you can.
Give me
they're
the
like,
Jared Polin.
They're like, you can interrupt if you feel it. Like, you're our guest. Say
Yeah.
whatever you want to say. I'm like, okay. Because people don't realize, you get some people that commented like, "Oh, you tried to take over their show." Honestly, when I sat there first, I was like, "This is your show.
Barely made a peep the first
This isn't
20 minutes.
my show." Well, if they weren't going to engage me, I wasn't going to talk.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
So, but then when it was time, it was time. It's the most viewed grid they've ever had. It seems
It is. Well, what I've seen
in a shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, like with the second one looked like, Peter Hurley's is on there, has a lot, but this has blown them all out of the water. Anyway, it was good to go. It was cool to see his facility, what he's built, the compound.
Crazy
It gives
facility,
us
man.
something to aspire to. And I told him that.
He's
I'm like,
built empire.
it's a beautiful empire down
Yeah,
there. They
it
just took
really
over
is.
another warehouse and combined two of them into one major facility. They've got 6 or 7 or 12 sets all set up in a room. And they've got
91
separate
employees
rooms,
or
91
something?
employees. So that interview's coming up after we do photo news. It's a very candid, straightforward interview with Kelby.
Now, this is not the grid interview we're talking about.
No, this isn't the grid
completely
interview.
Separate.
This is a separate interview where I sat down in his office and interviewed him.
Sweet office, too.
Beautiful office,
Yeah.
part of the new side of the facility. And what's interesting is he didn't know what to expect. And after the interview, he was surprised and said, "I didn't know that I didn't expect that type of interview." And the thing with the interview was,
There's a serious side of you.
well, what I want to know in when I interview somebody, it's questions that I want to know answers to. I'm inquisitive. I want to know this stuff. I wanted to know where he started. I wanted to know about the business. I wanted to know about the first major break that happened. And the first major break that happened is going to give you goosebumps. I got chills sitting there listening to how they were struggling, and then one major thing happened.
I didn't know that's how he got started.
And when that one major thing happened is when everything exploded. You see what I did there? Make a note when we're discussing this at this time for Steven to make this the segment we talk about with the thing.
Boom.
Boom. The 15-second and the others. But the conversation, there was no gotcha questions. He kind of thought maybe I was going to throw that at him. Like, why did you switch to Canon? Or why did you...
He did, because he said that after the fact.
He did. He's like, I thought you were going to ask about... He's like, what I liked about the interview is it made me think. It's like it's not the same old f-stops and this and gear and
what were
everything.
your settings and how did you feel when you shot this?
He has built an unbelievable business.
Unbelievable.
I don't know the money behind it, but I want to build something similar. Not down the same path of what he does. He already does what they do. That's their thing. But we're more in the infotainment side of it. But I could see us building a facility like that one day.
And he was very transparent during the entire interview.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Just being honest. So we'll get to that interview coming up after the photo news. But that is definitely something you're going to want to listen. It's a long interview. That's because I said like 15 words.
You literally said like a sentence the entire time.
You know what makes a good interviewer?
Listening, and then going the direction that the conversation is going,
not derailing it by asking a stupid question that I had written. I had my questions written down.
You had stupid questions?
I didn't have stupid questions. I had questions that would have
Completely thrown off the
right.
conversation.
So they didn't fit in. So I didn't ask. Like I wanted to ask about Howard Stern, how he found him. And I asked him that after the fact. And Scott said, well, it was from his books. But it didn't make sense to ask that question live. It just didn't feel right. And that's what makes a good interview is if you're interviewing somebody, you ask solid questions, you pay attention to their answers, and you don't sit there and just go down your list and be like, okay, good answer. And then next, and then next. You just go, really? You dive deeper into that.
Well, and that also it has to deal with the interviewee as well. If they're just like yes, no, maybe.
We've run
at least
into
he was very talkative the entire time.
Right. We only ran into a few of those before. In all of our interviews, there may have been one person that was like pulling teeth.
There was a couple, yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard when you sit here and you're like asking questions. I think Mr. Iz was like that a little bit. My high school teacher
He was
for a while.
little bit
It's
like that. But I think he's also not used to being interviewed.
Right.
He's a teacher.
Right. So that's just. Yeah, I mean,
but I do want to throw in that the grid, their set, it's so much smaller than how it looks on on YouTube.
Yeah,
it looks so huge, and then you get in there and it's like the size of like this table width-wise.
Yeah, it's not very wide.
It's really small.
And one of the comments that I saw a lot of people talking about is how the quality of ours, for what it is, just looks better, sounds better. Yes, we have multiple cameras. They have multiple cameras. I just think that our audio, being that this was a podcast first type thing, and we got hooked up with Rode for these Rode broadcasters, it just because I heard myself on the show and I didn't like how I sounded because all you could hear, it sounded like I was in a tunnel.
Well, I think the main reason for that is Kelby tends to talk like this away from the microphone.
Yeah, so they pump up his levels.
Yeah, so they're and that's just picking up the entire room.
But if you didn't see the grid interview, we'll put that in the photo news segment.
Yep,
section.
I actually took a bunch of B-roll, so while we're talking about this the entire time, it should have been rolling.
Oh, all right, yeah, and. So you can go to fronosphoto.com/rawtalk-118. And also while we're at it, don't forget about Snapchat. I've been blowing up Snapchat. There's a lot of people watching it. We do behind the scenes things. Like if anybody's paying attention, you won't see these Snapchats that I do from the show because they'll be disappearing in 24 hours.
Well,
from
and
the
if
time
anyone
that I
wants
shoot them.
to add you can actually just click on. You can take a picture of the screen right now because I'll put your.
Not a picture.
I'm sorry.
You hold up the Snapchat camera. You just touch it.
Needs to be updated though to
the
the latest
updated
version.
And then that will add me on Snapchat so you can follow the behind the scenes looks.
Yep.
It's really cool.
Very
All right,
cool.
Sutter.
Yes.
I'm going to throw it to you, bro.
Sure.
How did you got a new pet?
Oh, it's so adorable.
Yes, Leanne and I got a hedgehog.
I didn't even know you could get hedgehogs as pets.
Yeah.
Is his name Sonic?
No, it is not Sonic. It is Special Agent Dale Cooper. For anybody, it sounds really random to anyone that doesn't know, but it's from the show Twin Peaks. It's one of the characters in the show. So
It's a very popular show.
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
I've never watched Twin Peaks, and it's coming back.
I know
Yes.
a band
So-
called Twin Forks.
So does it get bigger?
not much bigger right now. I mean, I don't know how.
All right, so
to
what's
compare
it do?
He
He collects coins.
Bing, bing, bing.
They're very active animals. They like to run around, and he has a wheel. He
Isn't it
likes
like
to
a
run on.
cleaner hamster kind of?
Yes,
Isn't that
cleaner
how you're kind of
hamster.
referring
They
to?
don't carry diseases. They not really prone to any illnesses, and they kind of just like to cuddle up on you. So,
What do
yeah.
they sound like?
He makes a lot of weird squeaks.
I want to hear these squeaks.
I don't know.
Do the squeak of Special Agent Dan
Dale
Livingston.
Cooper.
Oh. And there's that laugh in there?
No, that's me laughing at him.
You know what you look
squeaking.
like right now? You look like Bradley Cooper in American Sniper.
Oh, he kind of does,
It's
actually.
like with the hat on. It's like a military hat. He's like, "Are you the sniper from American
not a bad
Sniper?"
thing, by the way.
No, I wouldn't take it the wrong way.
That's funny. Have you seen that yet?
No, my
I
brother
heard
went and
good
saw
things.
it, and everybody seems to say it did a ton of money.
Did it?
Yeah, but it's a very political firestorm. You got fat
is.
Michael Moore talking shit. Look, Michael Moore, you can talk shit when you lose your 8,000 pounds and stop being a fat ass. You know, you did it once, you lost your weight, and then people took you seriously. But when you look like Jabba the freaking Hutt sitting there talking, eating pizza at the same time, nobody's going to respect you.
The best is how South Park
It's like
portrays
Chris
him.
Christie sitting up in the box for Jerry
high five?
Jones. Shouldn't you be in New Jersey running your state, not taking money from Jerry Jones to go do something like that?
Yep.
That's what I got to say about
You got to
that.
have some fun every now and then.
Well, yeah, he's allowed to have fun. We talked about Florida. My birthday was a lot of fun down there. We've got this to talk about. We got photo news. Why don't we? I think it's time for photo news.
And
Oh, no, I had one more thing to talk about.
the beer too. I want to talk about.
Oh, go ahead. Talk about the beer while Sutter does a Snapchat behind the scenes for people that are already following.
So this is New Belgium Snapshot beer. It's a photography themed beer. It seems like, at least the packaging and the labeling and stuff like that. But this is actually from one of your readers, Joe Lopez. Sent
Joe
it to us.
Lopez.
I don't know if he sent it to just you, and I'm just drinking it anyway. But anyway, it's a pretty good beer. It's a wheat beer. It's not bad. And it's pretty cool. So I figured, why not drink it on RAWtalk while we're talking about photography, and drink me a photography beer.
Well, how is it? Is it any good?
I mean, honestly, it's like a standard wheat beer. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's nothing crazy good or terrible. I think it's just right in. It's ordinary. It's more on the plain side.
We're just
not a huge fan.
ordinary people.
I don't know if I would personally buy it.
Well,
is
I
what
heard that
mean.
it's not the best beer. That's
No.
what all the people out of Colorado, like Timko.
out of Colorado is where it's
Robert
from.
Timko, right?
But I do
It's
like
Robert
that
Timko.
It's got
You know
a
what's
nice little
funny?
camera on the front and everything.
I mentioned Timko, Robert, in on Snapchat, I think, or somewhere that people should follow him. He does a lot of nude
It was on
women.
Facebook.
I did
when
it on
you did the
Facebook?
portrait thing, right?
Oh, right. It was in the portrait. Yes. Oh, because on Facebook, I've been doing this thing where I'm like, I want to see your best picture of X.
Yes.
It's kind of
Which I
similar
love that
to
you're
what I
doing.
used to do. Right. I'm finding it. I have to find the groove that what works the best, because we had over 900 come in for the portrait one.
That's the hard part.
Which
just
means I only see
sorting
the
through
first
everything
50
that are liked.
Well, right. Or what happens is the people that post in the first 2 hours, they get seen higher. So I don't see the other ones. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is something similar to what I did in the past. I'm going to go through all of the ones that people post, and I'm going to rip the files off of there. I'm
Gotcha.
going to drag them to a folder so that I can pinpoint the ones that I like. But the only problem is then their names aren't in it.
Yeah,
and it's just like,
it's a lot of cataloging just for
right.
a simple.
But I
little
could do
Facebook
it with their
post.
names. I maybe I'll just copy and paste their names, or maybe I'll get an intern to do it.
Yeah, I feel like that's something you could just throw to someone.
But I will pull their names. I'll pull the image and then say match up their names with the file.
Match up the names.
Well,
That'd be
yeah, go
interesting.
back there, find the name. Well, see, I
You
just
could
think it's
name the file.
well.
their
I know
name.
that,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
the point. I was gonna have somebody else name the file.
Yeah.
I could do. But anyway, I was talking about Robert Timko's came up. I'm like, if you want to see some nude images of women, because that's what he shoots, then go ahead and follow him on Instagram. And he sent me a message like, I couldn't figure out why I got like 30 new Instagram followers. I thought I did something. I'm like, no, that's called the fro bump.
It really is. Me and Sutter got the fro bump a couple times. That
Exactly.
sounds really sexual.
The fro bump. Do you like the fro bump? No, it's not doing a bump of coke. It's the fro bump. It's when you get a bump in your social media presence. Do you want more Instagram followers? That's right. Have Frono's photo mention you in a Snapchat, and you will get a bump.
The fro bump.
The fro bump. Yeah, speaking of, he's the one who commented on Kelby on the grid and
Did he?
said that he makes money as a photographer. He's like, I make $30,000 or something a year with models who come to me to pay me. And remember, Kelby was like, nobody gets paid to shoot models.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can take that literally. Maybe he was talking about something else, but Timko was saying that he does. The thing I want to talk about, you're talking about the D750 coming up?
I am.
All right, so I'm going to leave that for photo news.
Okay, and you can chime in on it. Yeah.
I will chime in because I got something to say.
Cool. First
Hey,
up,
wait! It's time for photo news. We are going to get a new intro
very
for that
soon.
Well, how are we going to do a new intro?
I don't know. We'll
You
get
know,
Todd in.
I know how he
us.
should do it. I know how he should do it.
How?
He should come back and film you doing the news, chop it together with some news type ticker tape. I bet you video blocks.
We already had ideas for it.
We did?
I have them written down, yeah.
Did I talk about them with you?
I think so, yeah.
Shit, I don't remember them.
When we first talked about just the new intro in general, I said
Oh.
we're going to do photo news and we can use this, and that.
Oh, I was gonna say you could use like.
It's not finalized yet, but
Well, we can use audio blocks to get some audio.
Mm-hmm.
We can use video blocks to get the ticker, remember in Good Morning Vietnam?
yes.
The ticker take, the thing that's always printed, the teleprint or teletype or the printer type. You know, I'm not
I
old
think
enough
it's
to know.
teletype.
Teletype? The
Maybe.
teletype that's always like
Yeah.
well, that could be for your photo news. And that can be chopped
and it's
in.
it's gonna be quick, probably 6-7
Si-
seconds
yeah.
at most, kind of thing.
It'd be like
but-
time for Stevens, and it would be probably me going time for Stevens photo news, or you would just be like this week in photo news, and it would be like
yeah,
boom.
we'll figure it out.
I know, I just like-
It'll be
I
good.
love ideas.
It'll be good.
Okay,
And we'll
yeah,
have
yeah,
we'll have
photo
intros
news.
for everything. Gear of the week, flying solo
Sutter.
for Sutter. When
I don't
he's-
know what Sutter gets his intro. It's gonna be like a hedgehog going me.
Sounds like a dog like 20
Do
miles
they
away
have
barking.
sex? The hedgehogs?
They
I mean,
have
they
to
have to
reproduce somehow.
reproduce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like get them neutered or spayed?
You
No,
got it
I
from
don't
a
think they
breeder,
need
right?
it
Didn't
because they
you?
don't get any vaccinations. They only need like a yearly veterinary checkup.
It's like I brought my hedgehog in for you to check. Here, let me put a thermometer in the hedgehog's butt to get the temperature. Yep, good. 72.9.
Perfect.
Perfect.
I don't even know if they're warm-blooded, right?
All right, I got to get on this news. So first up, we got Sports Illustrated. They laid off all of their remaining staff photographers just days before the Super Bowl.
All 6 of them.
All 6 of them, yeah. The 6 remaining photographers, Al Tillmans, Robert Beck, Simon Broody, Bill Frakes, David E. Clutho, and John W. McDonough, they were laid off due to economic circumstances along with company restructuring, apparently. Now, the magazine's director of photography, Brad Smith, he tells News Photographer magazine that they're still committed to photography.
Well, they
However,
better be committed to photography.
the plan is to reevaluate what's best for the magazine, not just financially, but also content-wise. He says, in quotes, "Our commitment to photography hasn't changed. We're still going to cover games. We're going to shoot portraits. We're going to cover Olympics. We'll be at the Final Four. We will be at the championships. We'll be there," end quote. He also noted that while the 6 are no longer staff photographers, that does not prohibit them from continuing to shoot for the magazine if they so desire. Now, according to a source at Time Life, the layoffs will be effective in March, possibly on differing dates for specific photographers due to their individual agreements with the company. But because of this, the laid off photographers will still be shooting the upcoming Super Bowl together for the magazine.
Right. So I'm friends with. I know Al Tillmans.
Yep.
And I've
He's
known
actually
Al
from Philly,
for
right?
a long. He's outside of Philly, and I've known him since I was like 15 when I started shooting Phillies games and stuff like that. Very cool guy.
Nice.
We had him scheduled to come in.
He was supposed to be today.
The snow got in the way.
Lack of snow.
And unfortunately, his father passed away. His dad was sick. So now he's also going to be heading out to the Super Bowl.
Busy man,
So
yeah.
he is very busy. We're going to reschedule to get him in to get the actual story. He told me he wanted to break that news about it on our show, which would have been cool.
Would have been cool, yeah.
But it just didn't work out. But when he comes in, I think that's going to be a no-holds-barred Al Tillmans moment because Al says it like it is.
yeah, I mean, there's no reason to hold back, you know?
Just in general, he says it like it is.
Yeah. Now, on the topic of SI photographers, or C photographers, there's a new ESPN documentary called Keepers of the Streak that debuted last week, which focuses on the 4 photographers that photographed every Super Bowl: John Beaver, Walter Yost, Mickey Palmer, and Tony Tomzik. Legendary sports photographer Neil Leifer, he put the doc together. You were saying he now directs.
Yeah, Neil Leifer went from photography, big photography in the 50s.
Yeah, I remember.
Awesome
Well,
photographer.
I wasn't there, but
we're trying to get him on because what's his name's friends with him. David Bergman's friends
yes,
with him.
that's it.
So we're trying to do that. But Neil went from photography. When he got tired of that, he started to go into producing documentaries.
Yep. Now, he says, in quotes, "Nobody can appreciate more than I just how incredible this streak is." He notes, "Making this film was truly a labor of love for me, as I've known these photographers for at least 50 years and understand how difficult it is to have accomplished what they have done and continue to do," end quote. Now, Robert Deutsch over at Sports Illustrated, he describes seeing the film. Is it pronounced differently?
That is the very interesting looking mustache, thin guy. he's a tremendous writer.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I probably butchered his name, but I'm going to say it's that. Now, he says in quotes, the doc opens with a beautiful shot of all four men meeting at the 50-yard line of the L.A. Memorial Coliseum, site of the first Super Bowl on January 15th, 1967. And we quickly learn how each entered the business. Beaver's father, Vernon, the longtime team photographer of the Packers, got his son a sideline pass to shoot the first Super Bowl when John was just 15 years
Wow.
old.
Cool.
Now, throughout the film, Leifer shows the quartet working at last year's Super Bowl in New Jersey, and it provides an honest look at sports photographers that we don't often see.
Jeez, now would have been the perfect time to get Neil
know.
Leifer on. I'm going to send an email right now.
Do it. We learn of the near misses to the streak over the years, including Palmer checking himself out of the hospital following a heart attack prior to Super Bowl X to make the game. That is
Super Bowl,
freaking dedication.
that would be 10.
You know what I mean. Now, you can watch the trailer for it now over on the website. Hopefully, this will be on demand soon. We both haven't seen it yet, but we have seen the trailer.
I've seen the trailer, and
Trailer
I
looks great.
And I kind of told my TV to record it because I thought it said Tuesday the 20-something.
Your TV's like, no, I will not record
No,
that.
I told it, and then I went to watch it, and it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So at some point, I'm sure I'll get to see
Yeah, I'm sure
it.
it'll be on demand very, very soon.
I'm going to send an email to David Bergman
Or
right
maybe
now
online.
to follow up to see if we can get Neil Leifer on.
There you go. Moving forward, and still on the topic of shooting stadiums or in stadiums, Atlanta's upcoming new stadium for the Falcons will have a retractable roof that mimics an 8-blade lens aperture. Now, the new stadium that's estimated to cost $1.4 billion will open and close like an aperture, which is pretty awesome. Here's what the official site says about the roof. 8 unique roof petals can open in less than 8 minutes, creating a camera lens-like effect that exposes the inside of the facility to the open air on game and event days. Pretty cool stuff, though. Did you actually see this?
No, I didn't know that.
And there's like a virtual 3D video, too, that shows how it's going to be. Looks pretty cool.
How's it gonna be?
Third Eye Blind?
Yeah.
Good band. I used to love that band.
Gonna get myself back here to you.
Dude, that first
I
album.
wanna feel I wanna taste the salt of your skin.
Had 6 singles on it, that first album.
That album was awesome.
1997.
Awesome.
Awesome band.
I haven't seen this. I want to see it.
Yeah.
And I just sent the email.
1.4 billion. Can you imagine?
That's nothing.
Yeah. Nothing to Jared Pullen.
Yeah.
1.4 billion.
Blah, 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 blah.
Meh.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Billion, 1.4, blah, blah, blah.
Meh.
Blah. I'm a hedgehog named Inspector Sutter.
Dale Cooper.
Wait. I'm a hedgehog. My name is Inspector Dale Hunter.
Just call him Cooper.
People call me Cooper for short. My name is Inspector Dale Cooper, and I sit around all day going down my wheel, and then I'm all fuzzy and cuddly. Look at my cute nose. It's just so nice. The only thing I wish that Mr. Sutter, my daddy, would get me, I wish he would get me a girl hedgehog so I can, play Sonic Hedgehog with her and go oh.
I just want to collect my coins.
Bing!
An update on the Nikon D750 flare issue that you wanted to talk about. Nikon has issued an official service advisory telling consumers to look for a black dot on the bottom of the camera. Now, the camera company has posted...
What's the black dot mean?
I'll explain that in just a second. The camera company, they posted a new webpage that actually lets you check to see if your camera has the issue by putting in your serial number. Now, if your camera matches the affected serial numbers, then they'll give you details on how you can get your camera repaired for free, and will also give you a UPS shipping label. Once shipped to their service center, Nikon says they'll inspect and service light shielding components and adjust AF sensor position to resolve the occurrence of unnaturally shaped flare free of charge. Now, if you recently bought the camera, your D750 may already be repaired.
So it would have a dot?
It's the simple way to check is by looking at the tripod socket on the bottom of the camera, and if it has a black dot inside, then it's already been fixed. That's why this silent recall happened. These camera stores are sending them back, repairing them, sending them back with the black dot.
Yeah, I almost said something...
Racist?
Politically incorrect.
That's racist.
Speaking of, I went and just typed in my information into it because I kept trying to get the site to load. It would never load for me.
Really? I did it earlier and it worked.
Well, I just did it today, and I typed in my serial number, and it is one of the affected ones.
Uh-oh.
It says... so I did. I typed in all my information. You can print a label. You can print a packing slip, and you put it all in the box.
That's great that they give you the label and everything.
They do, which is smart. They just see... Again, anybody that ripped on them for, oh my God, they had an issue, they jumped on the freaking issue. They learned from what they screwed up with the D600. They got right in front of it and said, fuck it, earmuffs, we're going to take care of it right meow. All right? So anyway, I sign up, I do it, and it's like affected, and it goes, again, we're very sorry for the inconvenience of this advisory, but we are committed to safety and product quality. We will strive to service your camera as soon as possible. It better be freaking quick. Is all I do.
It's not gonna be that quick. They got millions of cameras coming back.
They don't have millions. They've probably thousands. I'm gonna put a sticker in there and be like, do you know who I am? I'm a hedgehog named Inspector Cooper.
Oh God!
All right, keep going.
So that's it for the D750 issue. Glad they finally got that officially resolved. Now, this week marks the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, which we actually recently visited. To honor the occasion, the BBC flew a camera drone over the sites, creating a haunting short video featuring the remaining buildings, the rubble of the crematorium, the dreadful train tracks, the whole thing. Now, Steven Spielberg actually spoke at the official memorial service in Poland on Monday night, this past Monday night, which was attended by 100 survivors. Spielberg says, remember and to never forget what happened there. He went on to say, it means preserving places like Auschwitz so people can always see for themselves how hateful ideologies can become tangible acts of murder. Spielberg said it means sharing and sustaining the testimonies of witnesses so they can endure for teachers and students around the world. Their testimonies give to each survivor everlasting life and give to all of us everlasting value. I mean, it's a pretty creepy video. There's a 3-minute shorter video, I should say, and then there's a 6-minute full extended version, which they go in both Auschwitz-Birkenau and Auschwitz I.
Which we were at both. And it's so different now watching footage from there after you've been there.
It's so much different.
It feels different.
Because you're like, I was in that spot.
Yeah, we were there. We walked the tracks. We took the pictures. I posted a story about it. Yeah, we were there, and
I'm actually going to post my pictures this week as more, just to remember it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like we were there watching the flyovers and watching that stuff, and then hearing the stories of the people. And I watched this thing from Yad Vashem, which was that's the Holocaust Museum in Israel, just talking about this book. The only pictures they have from Birkenau was
the flyovers, right?
No. It wasn't those. No, there was a Birkenau photo album that was the German soldiers, a German photographer took.
Oh, I remember seeing that.
And so somebody found the book, one of the survivors, and then gave it to Yad Vashem a long time ago. But they're photos of the cars coming in, people being offloaded, all their possessions, and just, they're all dead.
Well, remember when we did the museum, too, there was one photo that was the bodies burning in the back. I mean, that was just...
Yeah,
it was bad.
All right.
Let's see. Adobe, they announced that Lightroom 6 and all future versions of Lightroom will only be compatible with 64-bit operating systems. They say they're currently hard at work with the next major release of the photo editing software. They noted that in order to leverage the latest operating system features and technologies, Lightroom 6 will require at least OS X 10.8 Mountain Lion, a 64-bit OS for Mac users, or a 64-bit version of Windows 7, 8, or 8.1. Now, they want to focus on more user-requested features that will need the latest operating systems to work, which is why they're going down this road. Now, photographers with 32-bit OSs will still be able to run Lightroom 5, but they won't be able to upgrade any further from there. So we'll see when Lightroom 6 comes out, hopefully in the near future, a couple months or something like that, because it has been quite some time since 5 came out.
There's a...
I'm on like 5.7 now.
Yeah, but the future has changed for them, and a lot of...
With CC.
It's all Creative Cloud.
I'm surprised they're still giving it numbers.
Yeah, I don't know why it's just not CC, and then they just do updates.
Yeah.
Now, I've been talking to Adobe directly about working together, trying to come up with a discount for people to sign up for it.
I actually just bought the photography bundle this week.
I know. I'm like...
and I should have just got it from you.
Be like, I could get you one.
I know.
But I'm talking to them because you don't know how many messages I get from people still that are new photographers that go, well, what do I use to edit my RAW files? I thought it was just known, but it's our job to make it known. That's what I've been using Lightroom since 1.
Me too.
Since before Frono, since I even had a Fro, I've been using Lightroom.
Yeah.
Well, when did Lightroom come out?
2007.
Then I had a shaved head back then.
I think it was 2007.
So I've been on Lightroom 1, then I followed it all the way up,
Me
and
too.
now I want to work something out with them because we use it. We make raw edits of the week. We make all different types of stuff in there. I might as well get them on board. I already put them on the Wheel of Fro to give away free Creative Cloud stuff, so working with them would be good.
And since 1, I wouldn't say there's been like a major overhaul. I mean, between 1 and 2 there was, but
there's
after
been
that,
oh well, no, I mean
between 3 and 4 was a fairly big jump.
3 and 4.
That's when they added the shadow and highlight sliders.
but I'm saying like major overhaul.
Those are
like
big.
user interface, I still feel like
the user
majority
interface is still the same.
It's the same, and
but they added new sliders and
there's
more
new features, of
stuff.
course. But I'm just thinking like it's not completely different than 1.0. Let's see, we have the NHL and GoPro are teaming up to feature first-person action cam footage during hockey game broadcasts by using GoPro's newly developed broadcast solution, which is
you know what it is?
it's a lightweight
freaking
wireless
box
transmitter.
That's a transmitter on the back
That
of
looks like it's from like 1940. The NHL will be able to offer the first-person view during live games with that transmitter.
which is awesome.
It is awesome. It's still not clear, though, whether or not the footage will be used in all broadcasts during the regular season. GoPro says the NHL and NHLPA have the technology and are free to use it as little as or as much as they want. However, they're not contractually obligated to. Now, they posted a 3-minute teaser video of what it could be like, and the footage is awesome. I mean, definitely a must-see.
Did you list what players are on there?
Crosby's on there, your boy Crosby. Your favorite.
My favorite picture ever is a photo of a girl with an arrow pointing down to her crotch, and it says Crosby is and it has an arrow pointing down to her. That was a Flyers fan that had that painted on her.
That's
which
awesome.
is funny. That is one of the coolest videos. I sent it to my dad. My brother
Flyers,
called
though, right?
me. What?
No
No, there
Flyers?
were no Flyers. For whatever reason, Giroux wasn't in it, and Voracek, I don't know why.
Yeah.
The leading scorers in the league right now. Well, that's because the Flyers suck right now. But it's one of the coolest footage ever. To watch what hockey players do, hockey is just that sport that is so... I mean, the stick handling alone, watching what Kane is doing and watching what Crosby does and watching what
handling's
Subban
awesome
does,
in the video.
just what they do is insane. And the GoPro really lends well to watching Lundqvist in goal, and just seeing his eyes moving as he's following the play is insane.
Now, the one thing I will say is they actually had almost like a little stick on the top pointing down, but when they showed the actual players, they just showed it on the front facing on the actual helmet.
It seemed like they were wearing that
because you could see in
stick. The one guy lost it.
In the reflection, you could see him actually wearing like the GoPro sticking out. So I don't think they could do a first person like that.
Not during the game.
During the game, I mean.
Obviously, they didn't
but
show
they
that.
could do first person, like your first person shooter project. They could do it like that, but it's not nearly as cool as having it like you're right there in front of them kind of thing. But yeah, cool video. Again, it's on the website for you guys to check out. We touched on this topic a few weeks ago with a flying solo question. A disabled photographer is petitioning Canon to make a left-handed DSLR. Photographer Sylvia Cassiator is behind the petition. She suffered from a injury during her birth that led to the complete paralysis of her right arm and a limb that never fully developed. She says, some of the challenges I experienced while using my camera are with my shutter and the settings buttons. The majority of the buttons are located on the right side of the camera, and certain shots require quick pressing of certain buttons and dials. I am unable to do so because I have to lower my camera and reach over to the other side to change settings, which has caused me to miss many photo opportunities. However, holding the camera while taking a photo is awkward for me, and many of my photos come out looking crooked. Now, she wrote the company about her situation and describes their response as appalling. She says they told her to consider the PowerShot line instead of DSLRs. She adds, in quotes, I was offended by this suggestion because their PowerShot line is a complete downgrade from the current camera I own and definitely not geared towards those who are looking to get into photography professionally, end quote. Her petition is on change.org, not moveon.org, which now has 2,500 supporters behind it.
All right, I don't support it.
I figured you wouldn't.
I don't support it for multiple reasons. And before you call me an asshole or a dick,
Such a dick.
There's a solution to this already out there that will help her. Whether she has a left-handed camera or a right-handed camera, it doesn't matter. If her one arm doesn't work or is a non-developed wing, how is she going to hit the buttons the other way anyway? There are apps. Somebody can develop an app You can wirelessly control these cameras. She can sit there with her hand that works. She can build some kind of rig onto her. Is she in a wheelchair?
No, I don't believe so.
She can build something to hold it, to do something to allow her to get the pictures by using a one-handed, an iPhone, an app, and move the settings all on there and then shoot. That is the solution. A left-handed camera doesn't serve any purpose. And back in the day when I was in high school, there was a kid who was in a wheelchair. He had cerebral palsy, and he couldn't. One of his it would be his right hand wasn't functioning very well. So they're like, well, how do we get him to take pictures? Simple. These were film cameras. You plug in a cable release and you move it to the other side, and he focuses, and he's just going to have to do it that way. If his other hand doesn't work, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to make it any better.
Yeah.
And I'm not being insensitive to the fact that she wants this left-handed camera. I just think it's impractical to think that Canon is going to develop a left-handed camera because there's very few people that are going to need something that would be a left. That just reverses everything.
Well, that's what it comes down to. Now, I don't know if her arm is actually not functional at all, because you can see it in the picture, but it's not fully developed, but it's still there. So I don't know if she can actually still use it or
So
not.
like Timmy from South Park, is the leg pointed wrong way?
No, it's not that way. Terrible.
Timmy.
But so I don't know if she can actually use it or not. If she can, it makes sense. If she can't, for her, it doesn't make sense. But I can see why she's petitioning just for other people that just want to use left-handed cameras.
I would just find a different solution.
There is other solutions out there. Don't get me wrong.
You don't have to get a left-handed camera. Sutter, what is on your mind?
If she has one of the professional cameras, you can go in and customly change what button is the shutter button. So she could change the menu button and something else to a focus button and the shutter button. So
yeah, I mean, my guess is that she already
it's
tried
still
that.
awkward to hold,
but I don't know
there.
if she did or not. But yeah, there is so much custom functions that you can add to your camera, especially what she said. I think she owns the 5D Mark III, or she wants to upgrade to that at least. You can do all that.
I'll stick to there's going to be a solution with some kind of app that allows you to make all the changes right then and there in one hand, be able to do it, or with the other. I don't know her situation, but I don't think a left-handed camera is a solution.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on. .org. Let's see. We have a photographer named Jacobus Rentmeester. He's suing Nike for allegedly ripping off his photo for their Jordan Jumpman logo. He filed a copyright lawsuit against Nike in response. He photographed Jordan back in 1984 for Life magazine, which features Jordan in his trademark jump. Now, he says Nike then went on to pay him $150 later that year for temporary use of the image.
Oh. I didn't know they actually...
Yeah, but that was only for that year. Now, that next year, Nike created an extremely similar photograph of Jordan leaping toward the hoop again with that same stance. Now, he contacted the shoe brand shortly after, which they then ended up awarding him $15,000 in March of 1985 to use the photo for just 2 years.
Oh.
Now, then in 1987, they launched the iconic Jumpman logo, which is featuring the reverse silhouette of Jordan. It's on like every Jordan shoe you can think of. Now, the photographer says the branding usage violates his copyright and goes beyond the original agreement he had with the corporation. He is now suing the Oregon-based company and is seeking unspecified monetary damages for the unlawful use of his photo. The question is, why the hell are you suing 30 freaking years later? That makes zero sense. And I do want to add that I used to be a complete Jordan sneaker freak back in the day.
I've never owned a pair of Jordans.
I
ever.
may or may not own 1 through 23 of Jordans.
Do you have that many pairs of shoes?
I did, but I sold a couple of them off. I actually still have a couple of Jordan 11s that are completely sealed, including the Columbia and Space Jam editions.
What's a Jordan 11 mean?
It's a very iconic shoe. Let's just say that. When
So
it comes
you
to the
didn't wear
Jordan
it?
brand. I did. I had 2. I had one that I kept. When you're a collector, you don't wear them. Let's just say that.
Collect shoes.
I did, man. I collected them in high school. Not anymore. Now I just wear like cheap Converses that are like $40 for the entire year. But yeah, Jordans I collected, and every time a new retro version got released, I would be in line like first in the morning and
getting
pay
shot?
$150 to freaking buy shoes. Now I look back on it, realizing how much money I spent when I was a kid. But
Imagine if you put that into Apple stock.
dude, I would work at McDonald's when I was 15. The only job I can get at that age.
Welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order?
I need this money for my Jordans, but yeah, I would literally pay my.
Would you like fries with that?
I would use that $100 that I got every 2 weeks and
Would you
just
like a Biggie size it?
put it toward shoes. And yeah, I was a Jeeker, a Jordan sneaker freak.
Yay!
I got my Jordan.
I miss special ed. All right, good story. I forget. Oh, iconic thing. Yeah, 30 years down the road. I didn't realize that they did pay him in the first place and then paid him in the second place and then didn't follow up because they created a new logo. Why didn't you go after them then? They just kept paying you.
Well, because technically it's their photograph too, but yeah, they did reproduce it
or
in
he
pretty much
could
the
just
same
jump.
exact way.
If that's how he jumps,
That's
then
the thing.
how are you going to win if that's how he jumps? You didn't do anything unique.
If he specifically told him to jump that way, that's a different story.
Yeah, but that's how he jumped.
That is.
And it's not the exact same as what's in the logo.
No,
They're
actually,
pretty close. I've seen the.
They are close,
yeah,
but his
you saw
hands
it.
are like this, not like
yeah.
You know, it was
well,
a
the
little
one is
different.
like this, and then the actual logo is like fully out.
Yeah.
So it is a little different. But yeah, 30 years later, I don't understand that part. That's like the weird part.
building up a backstory.
Yeah, it takes them 30 years to do that. Let's see. We have, this is probably my favorite commercial ever and favorite news piece this week. A new ad for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which I have to show you right after this. It features the cameraman behind the game's kill cam. The video that shows how you died, after the fact. Actor Randall Higgins is the kill cameraman who uses an arsenal of cameras ranging from drones to GoPros to DSLRs to RC cars to everything you can think of. Now, he's like riding a dirt bike with a GoPro cam, strapped to the bottom of like a helicopter with a DSLR and like a telephoto lens. He's hiding in a Christmas tree with a whole thing of GoPros. He's running around with like shoulder rigs. It's really funny and really creative, whoever did this ad. The ultimate photojournalist right here. But yeah, check this out. It's also on the website for you guys to see. It's hilarious.
Chronosphoto.com/rawtalk-118.
If you're a gamer, you will love it.
I'm not a gamer.
I'm not a gamer either, but I still think it's awesome.
I'm sure that's awesome.
I used to play Halo back in the day. That's it.
Well, I have GoldenEye 64 in the car right now.
Ooh, yeah,
I don't know why I didn't bring it
snap.
in. It's still sitting in there. It's probably not good that it's been sitting in the freezing cold and the battery inside the cartridges are probably going bad, but whatever.
That might still be like my favorite game.
GoldenEye 64, I want to hook it up to the projector.
Oh, multi-game?
Well, I did that in my old
Multiplayer?
house.
Oh.
We did 4-player multiplayer, and each screen is like 90-some inches alone.
What was your favorite
Board?
location or board? Yeah.
I don't know the names of the boards, but it wasn't that gray one where you would hide and I didn't like the gray one.
The gray one, there were so many hiding places.
Oh, you know what's a good one?
Which one?
The satellite dish one.
Yeah.
That's really good because people they run through a door and then boom, the mine goes off. That one was a good
proximity mines. They were my favorite.
Proximity mines.
They were
And
so
I never
good.
played slaps or one shot or lasers.
I did lasers all the time.
We used to do rockets.
Or no, we did rockets, and then isn't there like an unlimited weapons or like everything?
Well, oh right, yeah.
Isn't there something like that?
Yeah,
We
but
did
it's
that
just
a
more
lot.
fun to pick stuff up and then shoot people.
I was always Boris.
You were always Boris?
Boris.
Yeah, I was never Boris.
What were you?
Probably
Bond?
the girl.
James Bond?
Probably the girl.
Another person ruining drones for the rest of us. A camera drone crashed into the White House lawn this past week, which is a very bad thing to do. A supposed government employee was behind the crash, saying he was flying it recreationally, which caused a lockdown of the entire White House. Now, what's even worse is that the radar system that the White House uses to detect flying objects completely missed the drone. Apparently, this was the case because a drone is similar in size to a large bird, so it's not meant to detect something that small.
I'm a drone.
Now flying.
I'm not a bird. I'm a drone.
Now, flying a drone is illegal in D.C. due to the sensitive nature of the airspace, obviously. The man has not been charged with a crime and remains anonymous. Now, in response, DJI wants to make sure this type of incident never happens again because it was one of their drones. So they're issuing a mandatory firmware update that will disable its camera drones in Washington, D.C.'s no-fly zone. The new firmware will prevent Phantom 2 drones from flying anywhere inside a 15.5-mile radius
Holy
of downtown
shit.
D.C. That's a huge radius.
That's like a huge radius.
It's like the entire city.
That's like the entire city.
However, DJI's Inspire 1 and Spreading Wings series have not been restricted just yet. So you could get away with that.
Spread your wings and fly away. Yes, Sutter?
With their restricted thing, doesn't it just kind of show up like
It's only, I
and
think,
say you're not supposed to fly here, not actually
No, it
disable
doesn't.
it?
Nowadays, you can't
If you
get
use
past
the
it.
GPS, I thought, right? I
'Cause
thought
if you turn the
fly it
GPS
manually
off, it
without the
won't know
GPS,
where
you
it's
can
at.
do it.
No, what it does is it like blocks your screen and doesn't let you fly. Because I remember when I tried flying it in there, it actually said down the street it became a no-fly zone.
No, really?
Yeah, when I went and
wow.
flew with this, but then I just skipped it and flew past it. I don't know. It
But
let
I
me
mean,
still
like,
fly.
I thought you can still fly it manually without a screen or anything, just like literally flying
Maybe.
like a plane.
I don't know, but that's because that's probably where planes are flying at the PHL.
Yeah. Let's see. We have the ultra rare Leica R 600mm f5 prototype lens has made its way on eBay with the heavy price of $230,000. Insane. This is a single edition.
Insane in the membrane.
Insane in the brain. It's a single edition, being the only lens ever made for Leica's Apo-Telit line.
Oh, yeah. It's the Apo-Telit line, first made in 1947, and then it expanded to the Apo 7.2, which came out in 1967, and then they came out with this lens in 1979.
Gotcha.
And it's 200 because it was a one-off for Prince Shamir Shaheikh Mohammed.
Oh, yeah, Shamir.
Yeah, Prince Shamir.
Yeah, Prince Shamir, yeah.
Yeah, because of the Arabian Peninsula.
Gotcha. Okay, and the Dead Sea too, right?
No, just the Arabian Peninsula.
Excuse me. Let's see. We have, so that never went into production at all. It's just a prototype. Photo company Photo Arsenal Worldwide. They're behind the sale. The same lens was actually auctioned for $70,000 back in 2013.
Oh, that's quite a profit.
And this thing looks like a freaking bomb, man, that you would drop like out of an airplane. It weighs 11 pounds, and it's probably like 2 feet long.
It's a mirror lens. I don't even think it would be any good.
I don't think it would either. It's just the fact that you're a rich bastard that says that they own a Leica rare lens. That's what it comes down to, really. They're the people buying this crap. The MPPA, they conducted a study that compares public perception of professionally shot photos versus amateur shot photos. The conclusion was that the public found the pro shot images much more memorable.
Oh, really?
That's weird. The study involved 52 subjects and 200 photographs, 100 captured by a professional photographer, and 100 amateur crowdsourced photos that were published by various news organizations. The order of the photos was random, and the images appeared next to their original captions. Now, the study also concluded that the subjects were able to figure out whether a photo was professional or amateur 90% of the time. Again, in my opinion, common sense.
Well, when you see that stuff, go ahead.
Now, professional photos were also twice as appealing for sharing online. Common sense. Attracted attention for longer and constituted 100% of the 20 most memorable photos as selected by the participants.
And what does that tell you again? If you're going to be posting shitty photos on Facebook and you're wondering why people aren't following, retweeting, or liking, or doing anything, there's a reason. Because quality work above everything else trumps all.
I've never heard that saying before.
It's that simple. Good work is gonna stand out. Like when I'm going through those 900 photos that those people are doing, you scroll and you can see what is crap, and then you can see that the others just stand out.
Yep. Now
that one's recording. Yeah, just double checking.
The researcher behind the study says they also found that people value seeing faces, relationships, special access, quality captions, and good storytelling. So I thought that was a fun tidbit to throw in there. But that is it for this week's photo news.
No.
That's it.
That's photo news. So before we do anything else, it's time for the interview, isn't it?
It is time for the interview.
And then we come back with Gear of the Week and Wheel of Fro before we wrap it up to do it.
Always wrap it up.
We alluded to, always. Yeah, but you... Anyway, we alluded to the Scott Kelby interview earlier. This is a long interview. It's one of the longer ones that we did, but it flowed extremely well, and it got it's honest and truthful and just transparent. The stuff that you hear in this, you never know what you're going to get. Scott was just so open and honest, which is what I ask for in any interview. That's what you hope for. You can't ask for it. You don't want to ask for it. You just hope that people answer it honestly and just dive deep and answer your questions.
I think he did, yeah.
And he did. He did do that. So now we're going to go back to Florida, where you can listen to this interview and watch this interview that I did with Scott Kelby at the Kelby compound. So you were just talking about the wall. Nobody's gotten to see the wall of guitars yet?
Yeah, this is the first unveiling of the wall.
So what do you have up here?
We got a little bit of everything, and we got some Paul Reed Smiths here. We've got I had a custom Strat made up there. It's just a kind of not a great Strat, but this company in Texas distresses them. So they painted it with the UK flag and distressed it for me. And I've got a Zakk Wylde Les Paul kind of thingy. Got some Parker guitars, a couple of Parkers, some Ibanez. I love the Ibanez necks. I've got a G&L over here, a couple of Tellys, and this one I love. I got an EVH, like Eddie Van Halen's own brand, and it's got a drop D, so if you want to play like metal.
Oh, yeah.
metal. And then this Ibanez in the middle I got as a gift. And the action on it's not very good. It's like it needs to be set up, so I never play it.
Yeah.
But and then my playing guitar, my brother got me this orange, or there's a teal Parker. Orange Parker back here. It's a Tangerine. And I haven't really got to play it. I mean, it's like my daily playing guitar, but I got it for Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, the office is cool. First off, thanks for having us here.
Oh, yeah. It's just great to have you here.
I know we went through a long period of trying to get an invite, and we finally got the invite. It took a while.
It always takes a while with us. We're very slow. We're just, we're a little just,
It's Florida.
It is.
It's the sun, right?
A lot of it's the heat. Crazy from the heat.
I shouldn't be complaining about it because we have about 19-degree weather in Philly right now. But even today, it's 75, but the humidity is still there. For me, that was there.
I got a question. You're from Philly, right?
Yeah.
So is it Steve's or Tony's?
I like Steve's Prince of Steaks.
Yeah?
Yeah. I like Steve's.
So I've been to Tony's, but I've never been to Steve's. Everybody tells me Steve's.
You mean Geno's and Pat's?
I've been to either one or the other, Geno's or Pat's.
And then there's Jim's.
But they said those are like the ones where the tourists go, right?
No, they go to Geno's and Pat's.
To Geno's and Pat's, so I'm saying.
Yeah.
But everybody says you should have gone to Steve's.
Oh, I like Steve's. Steve's Prince of Steaks, they cut the meat differently, so it's actually pretty good.
Yeah. I was just there for shooting an Eagles game, but
You were there for 12 minutes.
that's the problem. I literally I landed, I went to the stadium, I shot the game, and I went to this, and I flew back. I mean, I was in and out. Everybody was like, "Oh, you got to go to Steve's." I'm like, I don't have time.
Yeah.
I was just literally in and out.
And they have good fries there.
I love fries.
See, I'm a big fry fan, and if the fries are bad, then I kind of, it takes away from the enjoyment of having a steak sandwich.
So this weekend, my brother says to me, if you could have any five foods, now my older brother, if you could have any five foods and not have any calories, any fat, anything bad, it'd be like eating broccoli. What would they be? And fries was one of them.
Cupcakes.
You're big on cupcakes?
I like chocolate cupcakes.
Yeah. I don't like sweets. I mean, I don't dislike sweets. I'm like, I hate sweets, but dude, I could eat a million fries. I could eat a 55-gallon drum of fries.
You need to come to Philly. There's some fries there.
Are there?
Yeah, well, there's always fries everywhere.
Yeah.
So deviating from the fry path.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't mind going off. I go off. Nobody goes off on more tangents
No, let's
than I
talk
do.
more about fries.
We can. I own a website called French Fry Critic, and I also own Frono's Fries.
Seriously?
Yeah.
All right, where can I get some great fries?
Well, the different
Out of Philly.
Well, I mean, honestly, you got Chick-fil-A down the road. I still think Chick-fil-A
The
makes some of the
fries?
best waffle fries in the history of fries.
Yeah, they make the best waffle fries. I agree.
Yeah. There's a place called Copper Kettle. It's a seafood joint, and they have these steak fries, and then they sometimes get some seasoning on it, like paprika a little bit, and those are good. But if you want to talk Philly, people will sit there and tell you crab fries at Chickies and Pete's.
Yeah.
There are these overpriced French fries you get at the stadium or down at their place, and they're these really thin crinkle cuts, and all they have is base seasoning on it, and then people dip it in cheese, and they call them French fries.
I'm killing this show, aren't I?
Not at all. No,
I'm killing this. It's my only time on here, and I've killed it already.
Don't worry.
French fry talk.
The people, they'll listen. They'll enjoy it.
The
I'll
fry
segue.
people will listen, and I know who they are.
Who are they?
The cool people.
Exactly. So with the guitar thing, I was taking a tour around this place.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. This is the new end of it. We're in the new wing.
Yeah, this is the new wing. Yeah.
We got the tour from Brad, and it's incredible.
Thank you.
I walk in here and I'm like, should I do I want to be here in a matter of a couple of years? I mean, how many years has it taken you to get to this point?
We started in the 90s, so it's taken a while.
But the 90s, it doesn't seem that far away.
Yeah.
But it really
Yeah.
is.
So we actually had another building down the street. And so we had not quite this much space because we just doubled our video production facilities, but we had another building this size. It was just down the street.
Right.
But you know what? When you have your company split into two buildings, and we literally were split, half the people work down in here and half work down the street. It's 60 seconds away by car, but it creates two separate cultures.
Sure.
And the communications break down, and also we just wanted to get everybody in one place. So this is new and cool, we had this much space for 10 years. So it's just literally, it was moving, because I think we were in that building for 10 years.
Sure.
And so, and now we're moving down here, and we're not sure what to do. We might turn that building into just studios, but we don't know where we're at.
Speaking of the studios, we walked over there. It's awesome to see all the sets.
Oh,
because
thanks.
they're unique. I mean, it shows me what a real set actually looks like and not my house, because all my sets are different positions
yours
in my
is
house.
real. I like your
That's
sets.
true.
Yours is real. Ours are like made up fake sets. I have to give some credit to Eric Kuna, who was at the time, he's now our vice president of operations, but he ran video. He came up with this concept of having 8 sets in a row, and what you would do is roll the cameras between sets in the middle, which is really great because you can have any set ready in 15 minutes. You know what the downside is? You can only tape one show at a time.
Yeah.
So you got 8 sets there, but you can't really tape anything else. So that's why we had this big expansion. So we did have another 3 studios we had before, but now we added a bunch more because it's while it's great for podcasts because you can move things and set up fast, man, for like trying to get, you can only do 2 things. You have all this giant space and you can only do 2 productions at a time until now. So that's better.
Man, and that's yeah. I hear you. And going over I love the airy nature of this side of it. We talked about that earlier with the lights up on the
Yes,
ceilings of everything.
white
So
ceilings
it
and
makes
stuff,
everything look good, which is great. So go back to the beginning. I mean, we were sitting in back there having a little meeting, and you were talking about a room no bigger than the carpet with 3 of you guys just hammering out content.
Yeah, so when we started out doing our first Photoshop seminar in October of 1993. And at the time, we were publishing like a Macintosh newspaper. It was a tabloid that we gave away free in Tampa Bay. And so, of course, it's really hard to make money with a newspaper or a magazine, or especially today, but it was even hard back then. And so we wound up just kind of at a weird string of luck holding a seminar in 1993 on Photoshop. And we only advertised it in
I'm just going to have you come in a little bit more. There you
Sorry. We only advertised it in the magazine, and we had like 160 people show up. So that launched our business, and then we went from Tampa to Orlando to Jacksonville to Miami, and we went everywhere.
So it was the seminars.
That was the seminars kind of launched us off. And we still do them to this day. We do about 65 a year. I've got 3 next week, and I still go out on the road and do them and stuff.
One of my questions is how many miles a year are you logging?
Last year I did 230,000 on Delta. That's qualifying miles. So
This segment brought to you by Delta, Atlanta's finest.
yeah, I see a lot of Atlanta. But you know what, though? I will say this. I do a lot of international travel, and that's usually with my family or with my wife for fun. So I get a lot of points from doing that. And I'm like in March, I'm going to Amsterdam, and I went to London and did my photo walk. And so it's not all business travel. A lot of it, all the good miles come from just getting away with my wife or with the kids.
Sure. Yeah. So you're starting with the seminars. At what point do you decide that you want to start teaching? I mean, that's teaching.
Yeah.
But
Well, the next thing was really forming our association, which was the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. So what happened was we would go to a city and we would do a seminar, and people come up and, man, this is great. When are you coming back? And we'd be like, next year? And they're like, well, what do we do between now and then? I don't know.
Yeah.
So literally we kind of thought, well, there's no place that people go to all year long to learn about Photoshop. So we had to, well, we didn't have to, but we went to Adobe because we wanted to include the word Photoshop in our name. You can't use somebody else's trademark in your name without their legal permission. Right. So we made this big presentation to Adobe, and they said, go for it. We give you our blessing. We'll give you the documents you need. And so in 1998, I think it was, we launched the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. And then that kind of grew. And then we started the Photoshop World Conference as part of the association. And then, about 7 years ago, we started really going into the fully online training subscription service, which is what our business is mostly based on today.
So making the decision to go subscription, there's free stuff? Yeah. How do you make the decision to go subscription? Because I know 7-8 years ago, because when I did my research about internet, like the internet marketing aspect of it, right, I found out that back then a lot of it was, we're going to subscription-based things. And then a lot of those people had trouble surviving. How'd you do it? Just quality content?
Well, I think it was because we already had like 70-something thousand app members. So we already had this great base, and we're saying, so you guys are learning Photoshop and Lightroom from us. Do you want to learn photography from us too? Then you can go and join this other thing. So I think that really helped it. I'm not sure if I would have started it from scratch like a Kickstarter thing.
Right.
If I'd have been like, this is a startup, let's just try it. So that honestly really helped a lot. We were already established. We've been working with Adobe for years. We're doing these seminar tours. We have our own conference. It's almost like the next logical extension as this whole education industry has changed. it just seemed like the next logical thing to do. And we started without a subscription. We started just doing online training where you would buy an individual course. Like you download this course and it was $29.95 or something. And then once we had enough courses, we're like, you know what, maybe we should switch to the subscription model. And so that's what predicated it. So I'm thinking about 7 years ago.
Yeah, bandwidth back then. How'd you find the bandwidth? I mean, how'd you search out and find the right people to host this stuff?
Well, we had some problems early on. That was really one of the big things. Is that the videos would you have to buffer sometimes and all, and it was really weird. It's a very tricky thing to track down, and our poor IT guys pulled their hair out because you'd have some people that are just it works great, everything's fine, and they would have the same service as somebody else, and they're like, I can't get it to work on this browser and all. But of course, we eventually got past all that stuff. But yeah, back in the day, basically we would tell people right on the play, if you don't have a high speed connection, don't subscribe.
Right.
And people would still do it because they're just like, I know, I don't mind waiting. And if you didn't mind waiting back then, it was fine. Of course, now it's nothing.
It's got to be instant.
It was challenging. It really was. It was one of the hardest parts of all this was being able to consistently serve the videos at a quality that we would want, right? I mean,
sure.
You want to do anything that you do, and you're the same way, you want it to be quality. You think, if I'm going to take the time and the money to do this, I mean, just you don't have to have these awesome mics. You don't have to have these awesome cameras. You could do this a lot cheaper, but you're like, I want to do it at this level. That's the way we were. We wanted to do it at a certain level. So it was very frustrating to not be able to. I wanted the experience to be what I would want to pay for. So we got there, thank goodness, many years ago. And now it's there's so much bandwidth now. It's not a problem.
Right. Now, so going before you went into this, what's a younger Scott Kelby look like?
Well, I had two big careers before I did this. I came out of high school, went to college, and in college I started playing full time in a band. And so I did that until I was 32 years old. I was playing literally 5 nights, 6 nights a week until I was 32. And so, and I had a day job. I had a full-time day job at the time. So I did that for a long, long time. It's where I met my wife. She was a singer in a band. I was a keyboard player and / rhythm guitar player. Met her in that band, and we're still together all this time, 26 years this year. And so. Did that a lot, and I still play. We actually get back together with the original guys that we played with back in the 80s. The same.
Did you have big hair?
Drummer. Oh, dude, I had huge. I can show you a picture. I have a picture on my laptop over there. No, I didn't have big hair. I just had more hair. I didn't have big hair. My wife had gigantic hair because it was
She was the lead singer.
She was, and it was the big hair wartime. So it's like, yeah, she was, boom, and so. And then my second career was as a financial consultant for Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Finner, and Smith. And so I went down that path when I wanted to kind of, because the musician thing, it's a lot of fun. And if I had to do it again, I'd do it again. But it's not a very stable career,
right.
And it's a lot of, are we going to work this week? Did the agent call? Do we have a gig? Dude, it was... Man, you're like, am I going to be able to pay the rent this week? It's like, is electricity going to stay on? And you'd have times where things would happen, and the bass player got arrested, and we can't play this week. I mean, every story you can think of, it happened to me. And so I was really looking for a way out, and I got a very lucky break by meeting the right person at the right time, and got me into the brokerage industry, and I loved it. I loved working for Merrill Lynch. I wound up. I guess it's all a path, right? I wound up at First Union Brokerage later in my career, and my operations manager, and I became friends, and she's one of the owners here.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we had that. So if I hadn't followed that path, I wouldn't be here.
And there is that path to follow for all of us.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where it's going to lead you to, and you don't know the people that you're going to meet along the way. But it is about the people.
Yeah.
It really is. So
it's all about the people.
You have the band experience, and then you have the corporate world experience.
Yeah.
How did those two come together to help you build what you've built?
Well, I would say that I got a lot of business experience, believe it or not from the brokerage side, but from having to run a band. I was almost always the leader. I learned from a good leader, a guy who led the band. And because I tell you what, it's tricky navigating, running a band and trying to make a living at it. It's one thing to play in a band and have a good time. It's a whole nother to say, I'm going to pay my electricity and my rent and all my bills and taxes and everything. And so I learned basically how to work with club owners, work with DJs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean payola?
Yeah. No. I'm just saying, like, how to navigate the back then, I think the DJs today are much more professional than they were back in the day. And you would have some run-ins where you're at war. He thinks he's going to get the most people on the dance floor. You think you're going to get the most people on the dance floor. And then you hate each other from the minute you walk in the club. And it was just like a weird, so I'd always try to have to navigate. I got to keep the DJ happy, the bartender's happy, the waitress is happy. It was just, you had to learn to juggle a lot of people and you had to be professional about it. And one of the reasons why we worked a lot is I ran the band like a business. We were supposed to go on 9 o'clock. We went on 9 o'clock. We were supposed to be there at 2 o'clock to set up. If our sound check was supposed to be over by 4, I ran it like a business, and they were always stunned and surprised and stuff. So honestly, I learned a lot of it from the band side of it. Now, my dad was an entrepreneur. He started his own company. He and my brother ran the company for many, many, many years until they sold the company. My brother came to work with me, which was awesome. He's retired now. But I learned a lot from them. I go to lunch with them all the time. We all worked in the same city. We all lived in the same city. So I would go to lunch with them, and Dad had all these great stories. He had all kinds of great wisdom about running a small business. And, he'd always tell me, stay small, whatever you do. Stay small, but it's like you get to a point where like I can't do what I need to do without hiring more people. And our goal was to stay small, and that was where we wanted to be. But it's like your goals and your things change. It's like when you're an educator, and you know this more than anybody, you want as many people to be able to see what you're teaching as possible. Not so you get more clicks, because you're trying to do something to help. And what makes you happy, what makes you click, is that you're connecting with people. Like you were doing a gig last night and you had 100 and something people there. When you look out the audience and you see people like, yeah, oh gosh, that's great. Yeah. And it's like, that's the rush you get as a teacher. It's what makes you want to be a teacher. We all have to feed our family. We all have to make a living, right? But outside of that, we're drawn to this. You didn't come into this. I didn't come into this. Nobody came in and said, hey, this is a path to riches. This was just something that you're drawn to do. If you're an educator, if you like teaching, if you like helping people, it's the path that you're drawn to. So it's very, it didn't prepare me for this part of it. But if I had to say what helped me, because when you're working at Merrill Lynch and stuff, I went to sales training and stuff and all of that. But it was, you came in every day and you're trying to sell stock. So you know what it helped me sell? Stock.
Yeah, exactly.
And you want an annuity and all that stuff. But outside of that, it was, I wasn't involved in the business side of it. They were involved in the business side of it. I was a salesman.
Sure. You talk about trying to stay small, but like you said, you want to grow, and that's really important. It is an important thing to do. What are some of the fears you had starting out?
Oh, I have the same fears all the time. So I've got 91 families that I worry about every day here, right? It's not just the employee. They have wives, husbands, kids. They have all their own situations and all their own stories. And I that weighs on me and has weighed on me every single day, no matter how successful, no matter how much money we have in the bank. That always worries me. Like, all right, I got to make sure that everybody gets paid, that everybody's okay, And that, honestly, that's the thing that keeps me up at night. And because, how many businesses have we seen that were just giant, that were you thought they're so big they can't fail. What was the one that Justin Timberlake's in? MySpace.
MySpace?
Yeah, MySpace. Remember when it was just the biggest thing in the world?
Sold for $550 million to Rupert Murdoch?
And then it vanished like into thin air. And so that, you hear that story and in technologies that everybody used, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Yeah. So those are the things that, those are the overall reaching. When I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, it was like, it's, Adobe stopped making Photoshop, some terrible, because we do a lot of photography, we do a lot of Photoshop, we do a lot of Lightroom. A lot of our eggs are in Adobe's basket, right? And so while Adobe doesn't pay us unless they want us to do something like, can you produce a video or something? But we don't get money from Adobe. Adobe doesn't go, oh, thank you, here's your check. Right. It's like, they're like, no, it's like we have to earn our money like everybody else. So, as long as Adobe does well and it raises our ship too. So, and Adobe's got like 3.5 million people in the Creative Cloud subscription.
Oh, nice.
It's an amazing number.
And then you put together some educational stuff. It's like, hey, could you guys maybe send this out to 3.5 million people?
Yeah, I wish we could do that. I wish we could just call them up and say, hey, would you send it
Do
out
it.
to everybody? Well, here's the thing is we're not the only partner in their sea. And so Adobe's very good about their ecosystem, right? There's all these people that support Photoshop. It's not just us. So if they give us too much stuff, then people are like, well, why are you giving it to them? Why are you letting them do it? So we kind of have to make our own way. And Adobe's a great supporter. I mean, they support Photoshop World. They're the platinum sponsor. So they do things. I don't want to take anything away from them because they do some wonderful things for us. But I understand Adobe's position. I'd love that Adobe gave every project to us. That I would super love that. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, this industry is always evolving. What we're doing, there's always people coming along that try to do the same thing or try to step up. You've been in for a long time. Where do you see this industry going?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be obviously continuing to grow. It's never been easier to have any kind of show, any kind of training, any kind of teaching. But you know what? What I found over time is it's hard for people to stick at it. It's hard to have enough funding. It's hard to have enough. When you think about how many people are legitimately making a living in this business, and it's not a whole bunch. It's not like there's 135. Online training companies teaching Photoshop. There's a lot of people doing like individual, like you can do this and it can support one person, or it can support two people, but you really have to start scaling to get to where you can, when you're doing 20 million and all that kind of stuff, you have to get, and that's, I think for a lot of people, that's a real thing. And you know what it is? You can't do it alone. You need help. You get to this point where you're growing and you go, this is as big as I'm going to get. And I don't want to make it sound like it's as big as you're going to get, because it's not a matter of getting big. It's like what you want to do next.
Exactly, because you're never satisfied.
Right. And you know what it is? I talk about this on one of my tours. I tell people they need to enjoy the journey, because you're never going to get to this point with your photography where you go, you know what? I'm done. I'm so good, and I love my work so much that I don't need to get any better. It's like, so most of us are frustrated with our photography, right? I mean, we pull our hair out about it, and it's like you look at your work and you're like, I liked this a couple of months ago, and now I can't even stand to look at it. And it's like, I need to do better, and I know I can do better. So this journey, you never get to the point where you reach the end line and you go, that's it. I've learned it all. And so I think that keeps a lot of people interested in this. But it's also easy to get discouraged through this whole process.
Because it is a long game.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I'm only 4.5 years in, and I've come a long way in 4.5 years. But I never went into it thinking, oh, what's my out?
What's my end game?
Right? Am I gonna, if I fail? I never thought if I failed.
Right.
I started with a direction, an idea, and then it pivoted because it had to, because it just, the readers took it one way.
Right. And so you get to this point where you go, well, gosh, people want me to do this and they want me to do that. And I can either stop and just say, this is as far as I'm going to go. I'm sorry, I can't do the thing you really want me to. But for me to do what you're asking me to do, I'm going to need 2 more employees and I'm going to need to work X amount of hours. And that's just, so I think it happens organically. I think the same thing has happened to you, that it's just as your audience grows and stuff. And I don't think anybody, well, I don't know, there are probably people wake up in the morning, but you probably don't wake up in the morning and go, I want to be bigger. You want the most people to see your stuff that possible. You want to be able to have a bigger impact. You want to help. And if you think I've got something that people want or that I can help people or whatever it is, you want to do more of it. Nobody writes a book and says, I hope 10 people read it.
Right.
And if 1,000 people read it, then you want 2,000. And that's the point I was going to make a minute ago. So on my tour, I talk about if your dream as a photographer is to get a gallery showing, and you finally get it, and you're so excited, and you're there at the opening night, and your art's on the wall, and you're so excited, there's champagne and everything, and you think, that's it, I've reached my goal. You're going to go home and go, there's another gallery in town that's bigger.
Right.
I wonder if I can get in there. And then once you get in the big gallery in town, then you go, there's this place in Atlanta. And then once you get Atlanta, then you're like, New York City would be nice. That's where the great galleries are. Ooh, how about San Francisco? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This just, even if you think, as far as my dream would be to have a gallery showing, it will never end with your dream of having one gallery showing.
Right.
Yeah, that's just the way we were built, right?
Was there ever a major pivot that you had to do? You were faced with a crossroads and you had to say, I need to pivot this all to make it go to the next level?
I think the big pivot was starting the association. So at that point, we were really just doing live seminars. It was really the four of us, my wife and I, Jim and Jean. We would get in a plane, we'd fly and would stay at the Holiday Inn, whatever cheap place we could get. We would do the seminar and fly home. That was our business. Our business was just the seminars. And so I think it was coming to the point of saying, you know what, it's time to try something bigger. And I can tell you what our big break was. So, and it's weird. So this is going back many years ago. Adobe used to publish a print magazine called Adobe Magazine. So I used to be a subscriber. I had it for years and loved it. And so at some point, we started this association. Well, it did not take off. It was like, we're months into it and we have like 700 members and we're like 745 members. And then, the next day someone calls, we have 746 and we're like, this isn't going like I expected. So Adobe Magazine was incredibly expensive to advertise in. You got it for free if you bought Photoshop. You could just fill out a little card and say, yeah, send me Adobe Magazine. And it had huge circulation, like 600,000 Photoshop users got this magazine. And of course, the ads inside were super expensive because they're trying to offset the cost. We could never afford to get in, but I made friends with the guy, the sales guy. I'd call him and go, got any $3,000 ads today? No? But we became friends and joked around about it a while. One day my phone rings and he goes, look, one of our longest advertisers dropped out, and he has a 2-page ad in the magazine. The reason it was 2 pages was, this is maybe before your time, but have you ever heard of a reader response card?
The tip-in?
Yeah, the tip-in where you would circle a number and you would mail it to the company, and then they would contact the company and they would mail you something.
Yep.
And it took like 6 weeks for you to get a brochure. All right. Well, they wanted to read a response card in there, but they sold 2 pages that were attached to it. Well, that guy dropped out of the magazine, and he says, I can give you both pages for $13,000 total. And believe it or not, at that time, $13,000, we're like, oh God, $13,000, that's a lot of money. We hemmed and hawed and all. I'm like, guys, I think we got to do this. I think we got to do this. And so we bit the dust, and I called it back and said, okay, we're never going to get in your magazine if we don't do this. We're never going to get a better deal than we couldn't get 1 page for $13,000. Now we're getting 2. And dude, I've never worked harder. I was in advertising design. I've never worked harder on 2 ads in my life. I mean, I was like, this is it. This is either going to make or break us. And so designed these 2 ads, and we waited. The magazine came out. And the day it came out, I kid you not, our phones exploded. It was just, we went from 700 members to like 4,000 members in 3 days. And then every quarter when that magazine would hit, it would just explode. And we went from 745 to 45 to 9 to 12 to 15, 30, 40, 50, and on up. And it was, I have to give the credit to Adobe Magazine. I wish they still made that magazine. I would be advertising in it today. Yeah. But it was one of those things where, I remember being in the office and the phones were, it was such an exciting day because, it sounds like $13,000, that's all you risked. But at that time, $13,000 was a really lot to us. Yeah. And so, and it was just like we'd never spent that kind of money on an ad. It was a whole new risk for us. Sure. And man, it was just, we had that ad for until they ended Adobe Magazine. And here's a weird quirk of fate. When Adobe ended the magazine, they still had subscriptions that were due. Like we still owe people 4 issues. They came to us and asked us to fulfill it with Photoshop User Magazine, our own magazine. Wow. And so we wound up all of a sudden sending all these tens of thousands of people a free copy of Photoshop User and said, with our tip in that says, hey, look at our stuff. It was just, it couldn't have come down better for us than it did.
It's awesome to hear that. I got chills listening to you building to where it was going because it's the culmination of all the hard work that you put into it. It's not just easy. It's sometimes you get a break.
Yeah,
but it's like, luck is one thing, but you have to be good to be lucky. It's like going out and shooting. You don't just get the lucky shot. Your preparation made you ready to capture that moment. So it's just like you were ready, you jumped on it, you took a risk, and it paid off, especially knowing, look, this is going to go out to 600,000 people, and seeing what happened is like, yeah.
But I tell you what, there was a lot. We were holding a lot of, like, God, I hope this works. I hope this works, And
but guess what? If it fails, you still fall back onto that old thing you could do.
Oh yeah, I mean it wasn't going to put us out of business, but it was just going to clean out the bank account,
Yeah.
you know. And you know what my lifelong fear is. So when you're like, well, we have 18 grand in the bank for the whole company, but there was only like 6 of us at that time, and we were really small. So, but that's what propelled our growth. And you know, we had this one little small office, and then we bought the next office over, and the next one. We had the whole floor of this bank building, and we took so many cars in the parking lot. The bank was like, you got to go. You
Wow.
know, our customers have no place to park, and
Yeah.
and that's how we wound up buying the building down the street because we got kicked out of the bank.
There you go. That works.
Had the whole second floor of the bank building, and they were like, "You got to go."
So books. You
Yeah.
have 8 million books that you wrote. What's it?
I still write
what is
a
the
few.
number?
I've written 60 something.
It's in the 60s.
Yeah.
That's an undertaking.
It is. Luckily, I write pretty fast because I write like I speak, and so I can type really quick. Weird class I took in college was advanced typing, and
Which they don't offer anymore.
I don't know why I even took it, but I did, and it worked out really, really great.
Was that Mavis Beacon like software?
No, I didn't have software. I went to college a long time ago. When dinosaurs ruled the earth, I was on an IBM Selectric typewriter with the ball head. It was so advanced.
the galactic, from Almost Famous.
Yeah, is that one. But it was you know, at the time it was like, these are cutting edge, you know, because my typewriter at home was not. But so I type really fast and I speak really fast. And I write like I talk, so I'm not sitting there going, what's the right word? What's the French word for that? I'm just like, yeah, and then you click over here, period.
Yeah.
So I've done as many as 9 books in 1 year.
Wow.
Right now I probably do about 4.
Have you seen a shift in the sales of that with digital, or are they offered, Kindle? Because I know you're huge. You look on Amazon, and it's
they're offered everywhere. Believe it or not, I still sell a lot of print books, which is great. I still have a love of print, and while I like some things much better in digital format, I don't like how-to books in a digital format, just me personally, and a lot of people feel the same way. And I don't think that you could say that the ebook market for how-to books has really taken off. Ebooks are awesome for like novels. They're great for like business books. But if you're trying to follow steps and stuff and all, the ebook format is still very unattractive. You can't really make the ebook look just like a print version, right?
Well, it's smaller on a screen,
right? And well, of course, you're held to this format, this EPUB format that only supports certain things, so it can look a certain way. Can I make this italic? No. I mean, there's all these little weird rules that you can't do. Can I make the graphic this big? No. It's just. So the ebook side, I think the ebook revolution is probably towards its end for our industry. I think that people have jumped straight from print books to video. You're either going to get print books because the ebook market, I mean, it's just dried up. I mean, it's just, and I think that, can I tell you what I honestly think?
No, don't tell me what you want to think.
I think the publishers, and I love my publisher. I have a wonderful book publisher, but I think the publishing community in general, so it's not my publisher. It's not your congressman. It's everybody else's congressman. All right. So anyway, they did to ebooks what the Blu-ray market did. So when Blu-ray came out, it was better quality. The audio was better. There's all these things better. They priced the players way up here.
Yeah.
They priced the discs way up here. And you know what the market said? We'll just wait for digital download because we know what's coming.
And Netflix blew up.
Went right past Blu-ray. Not that Blu-ray doesn't exist, but it never caught fire. I think that's exactly what happened. Do you know that the book publishers were selling ebooks at 80% of the price of the print book? Do you know what the reviews read when you do that? We know this doesn't cost you anything. You're ripping us off. You're hosing us. And people were furious at the prices. I was furious at the prices. And I sat down and I told this story like straight up to my publisher. And I said, let me ask you a question. You're in San Francisco. You walk by a gallery. You see a beautiful photographic print. You look in the window. It's $1,500. You walk inside and go, I'd love to have that print in the window. And they go, sure, it's $1,500. No problem. Here's my credit card. They go, here's a CD disc.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, what? Well, it's the same thing. It's the same content. It's just in a digital format. I go, do you go, okay, no problem, and walk out the store. And there's this big long pause, and she's like, no. I go, okay, what would you pay? 1,000?
Right.
No. 600? 200? 100? That's exactly what happened to the book market right there. When you look at 80% of the price, and I don't set the prices. I don't get to go, hey, I think the ebook should be whatever. So in my opinion, which my publisher would probably, or any publisher that makes books would not share, is I think that ebooks are priced way too high. I think if there is an ebook, that it should be priced like half of what the print book should be, because there are still all kinds of ancillary costs, especially with my books. God bless my publisher. They actually take my book and reformat the entire book. So we designed the book here. The print book is designed here. I have my own in-house editors, in-house tech editors, in-house artists. It's completely laid out and designed here. We hand the book ready to go to our publisher and they print it. But they do the ebook version and they lay out the entire book. And what they did to make it work, because I just complained so much because I want it to be good. I want people to look at my ebook and go, this looks great and it reads great and I love it. And it just didn't. And so they relayed out the entire book one step per page, because it was the only way we could make the format that's there work. So it makes this giant book, but it's really easy to go through. Step 1, open Photoshop, open the document, swipe. Step 2, do this, swipe. So it actually is a good reading experience, but just a lot of pages. Yeah. But just the whole ebook thing, I get really upset about it, because I think that the how-to book market squandered the opportunity to make ebooks big. Part of it's their hands tied by Amazon and the format, EPUB. It's not really by Amazon, it's by the format that works in the Kindle and the Big E readers. And Barnes & Noble's the same way. It's not an Amazon thing. But I think it trashed the market.
Yeah. No, I haven't gotten into publishing angle of it. I've had people offer when I first started. Somebody came to me and like, we want you to write a book and here's your advance and it's going to take you a year. I'm like, I'm just going to build a following and produce my own stuff and go that way. Self-publish whatever I do. And that's what came with the DVDs or digital downloads of videos. And I actually charge more for the physical than the digital. Oh, that's what you were just saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. So can I tell you why you still need to do a print book? Like, let's say you decided because as an individual, you can, if you sell 1,000 ebooks, right, which is harder to do than it sounds, and you charge $3 for it, you pretty much get to keep all of it, right? I mean, Amazon's going to take some, Apple's going to take some, whoever you sell it, they're going to take a cut. But let's say that you make $2 a book and you sell 1,000 books. You're like, I made $2,000, and I didn't take me very long to write it. But you have to write a print book, and I always tell everybody this. In fact, I spoke at an ebook publishing conference, and this was my keynote speech: why you have to make a print book. And I was able to sum it up by showing this cartoon from online that was just fantastic. And it's like 3 frames. Guy walks up and says, "What do you do?" The guy goes, "I make movies." And the person's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool." And he says, "On the internet." And they go, "Oh." It was that moment, like, when you do a print book, a group of people actually are investing in you. They're paying for the printing. They're making darn sure that you wrote a great book. This is a group of experts who do nothing but look at books all year, decided, you know what? Your book is good, your idea is good, and we're going to invest in you, and you've been vetted. And now my son can put in an ebook today. My daughter is going to be 9. She can do an ebook. Anybody can do an ebook. No one stands in your way. Apple's like, sure. Amazon's like, absolutely, self-published. They don't look at the content. They don't do anything. They just, sure, put up an ebook. Sure. Anybody, there's no bar to entry. And because of that, you tell somebody, "Oh, I write books." "Oh, really?" Like, do you know when I tell people, like if I'm in the rental car shuttle, right? We're going and the guy beside me is like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm in whatever he's in. I'm in construction. "What do you do?" "Oh, I write books." He's like, you know what the first question everybody asks me is? Like, when you say you write books, can you like go in Barnes & Noble and buy them?
Sure.
That's the first question when someone hears you write books, they ask every time. You're going to have to go, well, no, I write ebooks. You go, "Oh."
I don't agree. I'm going to just say I don't agree, but I don't know if it's a difference of age difference. Because everybody's like, you want to have that, like you just said, to have that book on the shelf. I looked at it a different way.
Okay.
I looked at it as, you want me to spend a year producing this book, and then you want to put it out, and I'm going to make $2 per book, and then, you have to recoup the money first. It sounded like a record company deal. So to me, I was looking at it from the business angle. I'm doing all this work, and yes, you're putting out into the world, but I'd rather just go direct to my following.
Okay, but here's the thing. What it doesn't get you is juice. You get no juice. You'll get money from your ebook, but it's not going to help your career in any way, shape, or form. Let's say that you get $5,000 or $10,000 for it. That's not going to move you in people's mind to the next level. And what I would say is, if you talk to Joe McNally, Moose Peterson, any of these guys that are huge, best-known names, ask them what having a book deal did for their career. It, in everybody's minds, all of a sudden, you're legit. It's like winning an Oscar. It doesn't matter if you wrote one book and you never write another book again. You are a published author, and it changes people's perception about you, and it opens up doors that you will never have opened before. You can have 50 ebooks, and really, it's like 50 movies you directed on the internet. But if you direct one actual real movie, you're a director for the rest of your life. That's what it is. It's really the psychological impact. It's not the financial impact. However, what I would say is that the financial impact of doing a print book, regardless of how many copies you sell, will change your career and really make and I've seen it happen again and again. So my own company publishes my books, but we also publish Jay Mazel's books, Joe McNally's Moment It Clicks. I was the editor on that. Frank Doorhoff's Mastering the Model Shoot. Peter Hurley's book that's coming out in just a few weeks. We're literally wrapping it up this week.
Shebang!
Shebang!
Sorry, Stephen.
So we've done Moose Peterson's book, David Zeiser's book. We've done all these great books from these great authors and all. And I deal with these authors all the time. I mean, I usually am the editor on their book. I don't sit there and read the words. I have wonderful editors that actually do the grammar because my grammar is terrible. But I work with them on the development of the books. And so I've just been through this process so many times, and I've seen it from both sides of the fence. And I'm telling you what. Write that one book. It will change. It really, literally will change your career and your pocketbook. Now, you're right. If you say, so a publisher gives you 10 grand up front, right? And if you get 10 grand, take it and run. If they go, do you want it up front? Because most people will never get that 10 grand back.
Right.
They'll never actually sell enough. I saw a statistic. In fact, it was at a speech given by my publisher that most books published never sell more than 1,000 copies, just period. And so if you get to like 8,000 or 10,000, you've actually done something. And let's just say that you only get $2 a book, right? And you get to 10,000, you got $20,000, and they gave you 10,000 up front, so you get 10,000 more. But what happens when your book sells 30,000, 40,000, 50? 60. And so I published my first book. My very first book I wrote, we printed it in-house, went to a printer in Largo and printed it in 2-color. He only had a 2-color press. He would print one side, and then he'd print the other. You know what the cool thing was? My first book came out in like the 90s. The guy that did the press check was colorblind. And there were pages where the plates were flipped and they didn't know it. He would look at it and it looked fine to him. The color line. Anyway, but the reason I got my book deal was I sold 22,000 copies of my first book, Photoshop Down to Dirty Tricks. And Peachpit came to me at Macworld Expo and said, oh, you got to come with us. And I'm like, why in the world? I'm making like $20 a book. And why in the world am I going to go with you? And they said, because you sold 22,000. What if you sold 200,000?
Right.
And I thought, I'll never sell 200,000 books. Dude, I've had single books that have sold 700,000 copies. Wow. So I would never sell 700,000 copies of an ebook, and not at the prices that those print books were sold.
Sure.
So it's that kind of thing. I had one series that sold over 1 million copies. I never would have reached those. There was a time where I had the #1 best-selling book on photography in China. How in the heck am I going to reach? I sell in every country, and I have a bookshelf in my house that is 7 feet tall, completely full on both sides of just foreign language translations that I had nothing to do with, but I still get a royalty on them. So it's, you know what I mean? It's like those are avenues and stuff that I never dreamed about. And so actually signing with them and doing that book deal was the best thing it ever did. It launched so many other ships on there. So
it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah. But of course, now can I say this?
Yeah.
Having a book that did good first definitely changes the negotiation.
Sure.
Because you can go, look, I'm going to produce it. And in my first contract I signed, I said, I want to lay out my own books, and they're only allowed to change grammar. They're not allowed to change any content in the book. So what I send to them is exactly what I wrote from in-house, and they'll change if they see an obvious typo.
Sure.
But they've been wonderful. I mean, as a publisher, freaking high five. They've never done anything but I got nothing but love, except for the ebook thing, which well,
exactly.
You know how I feel about that.
Exactly. So I think we'll call it a day on that one.
Oh, okay.
It's been great. Thank you for
insulted a lot of people today. Sorry, book publishing industry.
But you say it like it is. That's what needs to be done.
All right, yeah, make it affordable, and we can save this before it's too long because everyone's jumping straight to video.
Exactly. Let's get to doing your show. Thank you for
All right, man.
being
I'm
on
looking forward to
mine.
having you on ours. It's going to be a blast.
Cool. All right. So there you guys have it. That was an awesome interview. You wanted to throw something in?
Yeah, I thought it was funny how you guys talked about French fries and cheesesteaks for like the first 7 minutes of the interview.
You know, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and it's funny because a lot of them do. They start in weird places.
You just talk.
You just talk. That's why a lot of podcasts like The Nerdist and WTF, Mark Maron's, they hit record before the people come into the room.
I did.
Because they like
no, this time we
engaging. No, I would like to start doing that, where they start engaging because, you know, a couple minutes in, the people are like, are we recording? He's like, oh, yeah, we're already going. And then he's like, and then the people just keep going.
Yep.
But it's you can't just jump into questions. There has to be a small talk, a getting comfortable time.
It's just like RAWtalk, how we try to just talk about something random and then we go into the show from there.
Exactly.
Or recap the week or something.
So that was that.
Yeah, that was
that
that.
was a really good interview. So thank you, Scott, for that.
He's got a lot of guitars, by the way.
He does have a lot of geeters.
Geeters. Next up, we have
All right, we've got Gear of the Week.
Gear of the Week.
Now, Gear of the Week this week, these are the Sennheiser, what do we call these? EW100. These are the G3 wireless transmitting receiver and microphone.
Yes.
These
small.
seem to be the industry standard. We've been using
much.
the Sony ones for the first one I bought was the Sony, and I bought that almost 5 years ago to up the quality of my video.
Which definitely did.
It definitely did. Well, it could have, but I never set my audio proper to begin with.
Yes.
But these are the best. It seems like the Sennheisers are the best ones you can get before stepping all the way up to the high-end pro ones. Todd just bought some of these because he needed better audio because his audio was garbage. And what did you think about these? Because you've been playing with them.
I tested them out on the 5D, my 5D Mark III, and I love them. Basically, for example, the preamp with the Sonys versus Sennheisers, the Sennheisers have so much more of a clean gain. It's so much better in my opinion. For example, when I'm setting my audio manually in camera, I have it literally at 1 notch plus with using the Sennheisers.
Instead of 7 with the Sony?
Instead of like midway with the Sonys that I use because it's just not enough gain in there. And then you're just getting more camera preamp noise. It's just creating a lot more noise.
So they feel nice. They're a little more compact. I like that the on-off switch is in here, so it's going to be different for me. I can't just flick a switch like I normally do.
The other thing is they also have it's called Easy Setup, that lets you actually scan through the entire spectrum, the frequency range to see what the best open channel is in the environment you're shooting at. So every time you shoot on location, you hit scan, you find the best channel from there, and then you sync it up with the actual transmitter.
And what I like just looking at the microphone itself is that it has a hard windscreen on it.
Just the quality builds.
Right. The soft one that you had with the Sonys would always fall off, so we glued them on, but it looks bigger and junkier. If we have to make a video, so we're going to make a video where I'm wearing both the Sony and the Sennheiser at the same time.
Yep.
Two D610s are going to be recording. You'll set the levels how they should be set for both of them.
Basically around -6 dB, around what you should be
What
at.
it should be at, and then we're going to test them.
Yep.
We're just going to make a video just talking about
Comparing the audio.
comparing it side by side, but I'm probably going to end up having to buy these. These are on loan from Sennheiser right now. We reached out to Sennheiser. They sent them for 30 days. We may have had them for longer. I don't know. I have to send them back.
Close to that, probably.
Our goal is, I hope that, these are $600 and some bucks, right?
Yeah, they're a little more on the pricier range, but they're definitely worth it. Like you said, they are the industry standard, in my opinion.
They're small. This is more compact.
This is actually what Creative Live used when we were there, too.
Yeah, they used they had like
30
800
packs,
of them.
yeah.
So Todd just bought 2 of these for his videos because I was like, you need better audio. And so he talked to his professional audio guy, and he's like, this is what you need.
And the sensitivity, too, is much better.
It's 10% more sensitive.
It's 10% more sensitive, but the range is much better. The frequency range is much better. Everything in general is much better.
It just seems to be built really well. The Sonys have done me very well for the last couple years.
And
really well.
Sennheiser is an audio company that I just trust.
Yeah, so
they're a company that have
when it
that
comes to
earned
the
my
transmitting
trust.
wireless
transmitting
stuff.
headphones, a lot of everything.
Exactly. So we're gonna try to get these on board. If I like them, then I'm buying at least 2 pairs, and I'm gonna get a new stick mic and transmitter.
Yep, and the nice thing is you can actually sync all of them up with, I believe, the same receiver.
Well, that's what we do with the Sonys, right?
Yeah. Well, no, we have 2 separate ones, don't we?
Well, no. No, the red pack works with the red pack on the bottom. The transmitter still works.
Yeah.
They're good. What are you doing?
He's hiding. He's
I
hiding
don't know what
behind
the hell
wheel.
Sutter's doing. I'm like, yeah, bring the wheel out, please.
He looks like a human wheel.
Oh.
All right, time for the Wheel of Fro this week.
Time for the Wheel of Fro. So last week we spun it on location.
In Florida.
In Florida.
But not really.
Oh my God, did you hear the difference in the audio?
What do you mean?
It bounces off of here now. It just got less echoey because this blocked all
yeah,
our audio.
yeah.
It now feels like it's bouncing back at us. So here is the Wheel of Fro. Now that we've done the Gear of the Week, I won't tell you who we're spinning for because we're not spinning the little wheel. I'm picking somebody else that I already know who it's going to be. On the wheel, we've got Audio Blocks, audioblocks.com/go/fro for a 7-day free trial. You use Audio Blocks. Todd's been, same reasons why we talked about earlier.
Yep.
Audio Blocks is just audio that you can find. Look, royalty-free audio, stuff that you want to make videos for YouTube that don't get that you make money on because it doesn't get a strike against it for using third party. This is royalty-free stuff that sounds really freaking good. We've been using it, and if anybody that watched Frono's movies, Todd used some audio from there as well.
It's the stuff you don't realize you need until you actually use it.
Exactly. Borrow Lenses, $250 in Borrow Lenses credit. Think Tank Photo, that is for a nice photo bag, usually $100 or so range, depending on what it is. Question mark, you get to pick anything you want from the wheel except for the major prize. Rode microphone, which is what it landed on last week. You can get a Rode Smart Lav Plus, or you can get a Video Mic Go, $100. That's a great thing. Squarespace.
I was going to say, we use Video Mic Go in Florida the entire time.
As a secondary.
As more of a scratch track, but yeah, you could use it as a regular audio
Yeah,
too.
we just threw it up there because we just could get more audio.
Yeah.
Squarespace.com/fro. Squarespace they have a new Super Bowl commercial.
Yes.
You probably saw it. It left me scratching my head, going, what the hell did I just watch?
The dude is in it.
Exactly. So I think that's what they were going for. Last year's was totally different with the muscle people running down the street. All different. I like last year's. It was cool. This year's is different. It makes you, they want you to check out the site. That's the point. And they want you to think, what the hell is Squarespace and why is a guy blowing a whistle?
Yeah, they leave you, like you said, scratching your head.
Exactly.
And wanting to check it out.
So you can get your, the story with Squarespace. Squarespace.com/fro. If you're a student, though, go to squarespace.com/fro, then squarespace.com/students, and you can get 50% off your first year if you have a .edu address and your school is in there. They have a ton of schools. Might as well, if you're an EDU person, take that. It helps me, it helps you, and it helps them.
And a lot of high schools now have .edu addresses as well.
Really? Mm-hmm. High school addresses. Cool.
Yeah.
Plasticprinters.com. They'll give you 250 free plastic business cards. A Fro prize, generally one of my video guides. Black Rapid Strap. You can get one of those, usually an RS Sport. Adobe Lightroom Creative Cloud Photo Bundle. If it lands on this, you're going to get a photo bundle for Lightroom for a year. Lightroom and Photoshop. Videoblocks.com/go/fro. And this is for the Atomos Ninja 2, right?
Ninja 2, correct.
Ninja 2, that's a $699 thing. If it lands on there, you are going to win that huge prize.
That's great.
Rode microphone again, Squarespace again, Adorama Picks, get a bunch of credit to get some free stuff. Fro prize, back to Audio Blocks. And the person spinning this week is not going to find out until after the wheel gets spun.
Boom.
What time is it, Sutter?
Wheel of Fro!
I want to do an industrial spin. Wheel of
can't
Fro.
hear you.
Round
What?
and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. The Wheel of Fro is going to stop on, the Rode microphone again.
Oh, yeah, again.
Again. So congratulations to
Dun-dun-dun.
Sam Hamburg of Florida, Tampa Bay, Florida. Yeah. Sam helped us out last week tremendously
So much.
at RAWtalk.
Oh, yeah.
He helped with setting up. He helped take care of merch. He collected merch money.
He helped with spinning the wheel.
He took care of that. Sam was on fire, helped us with everything, and it's always good. He put himself out there. He's like, I'll help.
Yeah.
Actually, I asked him. He didn't say he could help. He always comments on Twitter.
He does.
Because he works. He's an IT guy. So he's always on there. He's always interacting. So we knew his name.
Yeah.
So when he said that he was definitely coming,
Good
I was
man.
like, can you help us?
And he
Because
showed
he
up
seemed like a cool guy.
like 3 hours
4
earlier,
o'clock. Yep.
something like that.
He was there at 4 o'clock.
2 hours earlier, okay.
It was at least 4. Maybe it was 3:30, but he was pulling in as we were walking in, made it easy.
Perfect timing.
He helped us carry stuff. He helped set everything up. He was really nice to work with. We took him out to dinner. Took a couple of other Fro readers that were hanging out to dinner
from
after.
the actual RAWtalk, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you guys, we're going here. Meet us there. for dinner. And I took care of that, and then that was that. So Sam got that.
Nice.
So that's the end of the show, basically.
Yeah.
Sutter, anything else to say other than
No.
meet?
Beaker.
So, great interview with Kelby. Lots of really good information in there. I love the business aspect of it. You get to look at what people are, you get to hear them talk.
Yeah.
And just open up in a different situation
Behind the scenes.
than you're used to. So don't forget we did that new intro. Check out audio blocks and video blocks. It does help us, it helps you, and it helps them because it's all a cyclical process that I get something, you get something, the business,
Everybody's
they get
happy.
something. It makes everybody happy. We keep producing 1.5 to 2 hour long shows like this one and all of the thousands upon hours of videos that are already up there for free. I sell currently 3 video guides. 3 video guides. There's 1,800 free videos and all this other free content that comes out. That's how you support us. That's how we keep going. And that's how it grows.
Boom.
And that's it. So go to videoblocks.com/go/fro to get your free trial. Even if you just want to try it out for yourself, just do that. They want to see those numbers. And if you want to do it and it converts and it's something you can use, awesome. There you have it. Oh, and by the way, they also have an affiliate program for anybody else.
Do they?
They'll give you $20 per sign up that you get somebody to sign up for.
Oh, wow.
Not for me. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sure
not doing that deal.
I'm sure I could get it, but it's for anybody out there. So if you have if you sign up and you have a friend who may use it also, have them sign up on my thing and then have them say they want your $20 commission or whatever it is.
Boom.
I don't even know how it works. Thank you.
Than't you.
That's gonna. Should I just end it?
Yeah.
I gotta
wrap
draw a
it up.
line through this. All right, guys. So that is Raw Talk episode number 118. Go to fronosphoto.com/ RAWtalk-118 to get all of the photo news and more about everything. Don't forget to follow on Snappy Chat. Just look for Fronos Photo on there. On Instagram, it's Jared Polin. On Twitter, it's @Fronos Photo. On Facebook, it's Fronos Photo. And don't forget, you can also get on iTunes to subscribe. That is it. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com. See ya.